Racing. This is GT Racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got everything outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up top!
Oh my god! Oh. Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
It's very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
It's come down to a showdown in the final round of the season for the Aussie car Formula Skip Barber Series. Cameron Dance and Russell Clark doing battle for the title, and plenty of spots still up for grabs right throughout the top 10 and even further afield. We are here at Barber Motorsports Park to finish this one off across 2 races tonight, right here on Simspeed TV, presented by Simfinity and a virtual motorsport mentor. My name is Ryan Jones, and alongside me, David Haynes. And David, our championship, well, it is really tight, isn't it, coming into today?
Yeah, massively. The point system for this series is designed to keep it really close and favour consistency. And look at that, just 5 points. Cameron Dance from Russell Clark. And then you look down there, there's still some other really close battles as well. Everyone's got something to fight for in this final round. No one can afford a mistake. Everyone needs a clean result.
Yep. 5 points to the top 2. Only a point between Robert Cook and Matt Marsh for 4th. Dead even between Mites and Williams for 7th. And 4 points between Braden Martin and Dean Williams in the battle for 9th as well. Let's take a look at our starting grid then for race number 1. It's John Schultz on the pole. Mitchell McLeod will start from 2nd. Cameron Dance will kick off his evening from 3rd ahead of Aiden Coote and 4th. Russell Clark looking at the back of the man he's chasing for the championship from 5th. Matt Marsh in 6th. Dean Williams and Matthew Mites 7th and 8th. Robert Cook and Angus Cook in 9th and 10th.
In 11th place, we've got Nathan Verney, Julian Mookie in 12th, Tony Clark 13th, Dennis Hancock in 14th position on the grid for race 1, Braden Martin in 15th, Arif Elberg 16th place, Bent Veltson 17th, Sean Doyle in 18th, Isaac Summers starting in 19th, and Peter Wilkinson in 20th.
Other decent field for this one. 21st on the grid is Leon Williams and Russell Marsh, David Summers, Jeremy Bush, Jack Patterson, Matthew Joy, and Gordon Smith round out our 27 cars on the grid for this one at Barber. It's 29 degrees on the racetrack, 18-degree air temp, a little bit of cloud, a little bit of wind. Estimated race distance of 9 laps. Remember, our first race of every round is a straight sprint from lights to flag. Race 2 in a little while will feature that mandatory stop for a minimum of 2 tyres. But Schultz and McLeod, who are on that front row, can really mix up this championship fight. Schultz trying to solidify his place in 6th, which seems pretty comfortable. Mitchell McLeod has been every now and then sort of a guest in the series. Dance and Clark from 3rd and 5th after Dance took the championship lead last round at Belle Isle as he went 6 from 7 in the last 7 races for race wins. Clark's going to need to find a little bit extra if he wants to get ahead of him today. He needs to finish 5 spots ahead of him over the course of both races if he wants to wrestle this one back. As the lights come on, the revs rise. Race 1 from Barber. The season finale is underway.
Pretty quickly, they all get single file to sweep down through turn 1 and then into this near never-ending right-hander. If you get offline here, you're going to be well out of line and come back up over the hill, over this crest. Difficult in some cars, and they're going to try to go side by side for 3rd place. Aiden Coote's going to have to back out of that in his yellow mobile.
On board with Cameron Dance as they get very close in front of him, and he draws for a moment alongside McLeod. In fact, he does have an overlap, but on the wrong side of the racetrack now, as we'll dive down the hill to the right in what is almost a chicane. And it's going to allow Aiden Coote a sniff as well up the inside, right at the bottom of the hill there.
Yeah, museum to the left here. as you go through that section of corners. There are 3 apexes that really flow into each other, and a difficult braking zone, difficult set of corners. Quick chicane here. We get around to the back end of the lap, and here the circuit continues to undulate with apexes that flow into the next corner.
McLeod glued to the back of Schultz. A mistake from Coote as they ran through there, and that's allowed Russell Clark to get by. Matt Marsh trying to follow in his tyre tracks as Clark now goes a little bit wide, and Matt Marsh might pick up 2 for his trouble as into pit road on lap 1 comes Mitchell McLeod. And I think McLeod may have forgotten that this is a sprint race and not the mandatory stop race. So that elevates everyone else up a spot, and now Cameron Dance coming to the lead.
There we go.
As Clark's going to spin in the background. Russell Clark's gone around while his championship protagonist leads.
What has happened? He's side by side coming into turn 1. Aiden Coote right behind there as well. He's just overcooked it, turned in too early, lost the rear. Didn't look like much of anything for contact there. Russell Clark just on a non-preferred line coming into turn 1. Track drops down right as you turn in. That can really loosen the rear of the car if you're not careful, and it looks like Russell Clark just wasn't careful enough on cold tyres.
Matt Marsh and Aiden Coote came together at turn 2 as well, just after that. That's allowed Cameron Dance and John Schultz to get away a little bit. Matthew Mites has been elevated to 3rd, +3 on this lap, and he started this race from 8th. Not bad going for him so far. Matt Marsh sitting behind him. Julian Mookie currently in 5th position, right in front of Angus Cook in that white car, looking to the inside. Mookie's going to roll off and just let him go through there.
Yeah, and then this corner, everyone has been out on the grass there because you can't see the track out point till you're right on it. You've absolutely got to know the track to go fast through this final sector.
And contact further back, Dean Williams has come together with Braden Martin. Cameron Dance goes purple out front, unsurprisingly. A little bit of damage from that collision there.
There's Martin, everyone out on the grass here, like we saw.
So there's the contact between Williams and Braden Martin. And something else has happened up the road. Matt Marsh already damaged to his front wing from the contact with Aiden Coote. Now being passed at turn 1, and he loses his rear end, much like Russell Clark did. And he has to lock it down to avoid spinning further towards the fence, and he loses a handful of spots more.
It's proving a very, very difficult track. A lot of that is these, braking zones where you're going uphill, downhill, a lot of little crests where you got to be on the right line with the right steering input in, otherwise you will lose the car like that.
On board with brightly coloured machine of Julian Mookie, and now a little bit further behind him. On board with Robert Cook, I think this is. No, this is Mookie. Down the hill. And up the inside, there is Robert Cook getting by him.
Yeah, good move. There's sort of 3-4 right-hand apexes in a row there. And Cook just has a lot of grit, manages to slice down the inside. And that is a very, very good move.
John Schultz does the fastest lap there in the tow of Cameron Dance. So he's not letting them get away. He will fight tooth and nail for this win. He can afford to be quite aggressive because he is very solidly in 6th. Big gap to 5th and a big gap to 7th. There's not too much pressure on him.
No, he's got to think about his teammate as well. Russell Clark is now in 11th, maybe going to work his way for another couple of positions, but there's no way he's getting to the win of this race, which is kind of what he would need to do to prevent Cam Dance's lead from becoming a runaway.
Ooh, that was very tight. As Dennis Hancock now looks to go by Julian Muki. He's starting to fade just a little bit. Robert Cook's driven away from him after an early gain over the first couple of laps. Muki now is falling backwards as Hancock got by, and Sean Doyle will look to come as well. Not going to find a route through there. But into the last corner, he may find the inside door opening up. Good job from Muki to cover that off. John Schultz again, fastest lap. It was a 1:37.221, and ahead of him Cameron Dance, a 1:37.231. They're closely matched, that's for sure.
Yep, very, very close up the front. Then that gap backwards to Matthew Mites. Then a little bit further back here, we look at Tony Clark, Nathan Verney, Robert Cook, and they keep going like this. Russell Clark might actually be able to get to 5th or something. Only a couple of laps left in this race. This race 1 being the shorter one of the evening. To the replay, 1st and 2nd. Oh no.
Schultz has lost 4 seconds, so he's made a mistake. Was it contact? No. I think Dance may be a little bit slower than he expected, and he had to pinch that brake a bit harder than he wanted, and it has sent him for a little half spin. And unfortunately, that might hand this one to Dance. Russell Clark is running 11th, but his last start was in the 38s. That group we were watching have just come together. Verney skates to the Armco. His last start was a 39. That was the point I was getting to.
There's someone in the crowd there taking a selfie and not looking at the racing action immediately in front of them.
It was Jay.
Ooh, Verney was very slow, was he not?
Slow down, potentially.
No excuse to sort of run into the back of him, though, or into the side, whatever it were. That was a little unfortunate, maybe a little sloppy there. It's let Russell Clark into 9th place as he's gone and I think dived down the inside of Julian Mookie, and then just up the road from him is Clark, Hancock, and Doyle. I can absolutely see Clark being able to still gain a couple more positions. But that is not going to do enough to stem the bleeding of Cam Dance leading this race with a comfortable couple seconds in hand.
Yeah. Even if he finishes 5th, he goes from 5 to 10 points behind Dance. He would need Cameron to have an issue in the next race, which, based off last night, isn't out of the question. Vartanian had an 8-point lead after race 1, and he did not win the championship. So it really isn't over till that checkered flag flies at the end of the day. On board with Doyle there as he rode down the hill right behind Hancock, looking for some clean air, looking for an opportunity to present itself as Russell Clark in the back of the shot there gets ever closer to them. He was 2 seconds quicker than Hancock on the last lap, 2.5 quicker than Doyle.
Here we go. I love this final sector. Got to keep it kind of tight to the last right-hand apex to really open up the left-hander to the start-finish line. Turn 1, an overtaking opportunity sometimes. And they're going to have a look.
Clark might have some reservations about it after what happened early on, because it almost happened right again to Sean Doyle there. That apex or that curve at turn 1, it doesn't seem to gel too nicely with these low-to-the-ground, low downforce Skip Barbers.
It's tough in a whole lot of cars because the track is perfectly level and then there's a crest right where you want to turn in at the most inconvenient of places there. So yeah, the car has to be very, very balanced as it goes across that crest. Any little slide is going to be magnified. As Clark looking to the outside, but that is a solidly planted defense there from Dennis Hancock. Makes him slow through the corner, boxes them all up.
Just got to be careful he doesn't get into the side or back of any of these drivers, because even finishing here, he's still got a chance. If Cameron Dance makes a mistake, if he falls outside the top 10, it becomes a near insurmountable task. That little checkup has given Sean Doyle a run, and Clark's going to slip back behind him as Doyle looks to the inside of a very quickly closing gap of Dennis Hancock, and Julian Mookie's been brought back into the fight as well now. So forecast scrap for 7th position.
Yeah, Sean Doyle opportunistic there. Dennis Hancock and Russell Clark kind of slowed each other up. Hancock has been quite defensive at this point in the race. Fair enough, 2 laps to go now.
There's contact. Russell Clark off the road. Again, contact this time with Sean Doyle on the exit of turn 1, a corner which is proving to be Russell Clark's Achilles heel in this championship fight. I think he's escaped much damage, but now running well down the order. Here's a replay.
Yeah, Doyle going down the inside. Again, in hot. He's lost the rear. The car's just walking out, and there's nowhere for Doyle to go. So, not especially reckless, but again, if you if you're going to go for that move, you got to go correct, and it just has not worked out on this occasion for Clark. You can see the car just drifts out wide. He's trying to hold the slide, runs out of room.
Nicky was very lucky to get around that, actually. Did a good job avoiding it. Clark might need to dial some more downforce into the back of that car for turn 1, because he is not having fun down there with the rear end. Complaining, shall we say. So he sits 11th, just behind Ara Felberg. Cameron Dance holds a 4.5-second lead, as we're about to take the white flag for Cameron Dance as well. Still a chance for another spot here, because Doyle's got issues, he's got damage, which is slowing him up. Clark got caught behind him, and that's allowed Dean Williams to go by it, both of them. Nathan Verney, Mitchell McLeod quickly closing as well. McLeod through the middle.
Yeah, pit stop McLeod might still get to a top 10 if he can hold on to it through turn 1 here, using some of the grass. And there's just a car width strip of grass there. If he'd gone wider, he could have used the paved runoff. If he'd kept it on the road, he would have been quicker as well. He is going to grab 11th there.
And it was fastest lap as well, that last lap there for Mitchell McLeod. So showing a lot of pace. It will give Clark a helping hand around the track, courtesy of the slipstream effect. But there's Cameron Dance. No one giving him a slipstream, all on his lonesome. John Schultz, 4.3 back in second. That mistake has cost him. Matthew Mike's going to come home a strong third, it would seem. Angus Cook and Robert Cook, 4th and 5th. 14 seconds across our top 5. But through the penultimate turn, gearing up for the final corner, Cameron Dance, 6 from 7, make it 7 from 8. What a run this has been to the championship for Cameron Dance. He puts one hand on the trophy as he wins race 1 at Barber Motorsports Park.
Yeah, there we have it. John Schultz maybe could have stuck with him, but had that one slide that cost him. Good result from Mites and Angus Cook here. A bit of a quiet one in the back half of the race behind them. Coming to the line, Robert Cook, Tony Clark, and then this battle pack. Ira Felberg, Mitch McLeod, Dean Williams, Russell Clark. McLeod might even be in a drag race, losing a spot here to the end. Not enough straight line performance from Dean Williams to take one back off him.
Schultz actually popped his engine as he crossed the line there. I think he popped it down and gear off too much. And Russell Clark will have to settle for 12th. Gap now. What's 5 plus 12? 17. The gap now should be about 17 points between Dance and Clark in Cameron Dance's favour. He wins by 4.9 seconds in the end from John Schultz. Matthew Mites home in 3rd ahead of Angus Cook and Robert Cook. Tony Clark in 6th, Dennis Hancock 7th, Julian Mookie 8th, Ira Felberg 9th, and McLeod recovers to 10th.
yeah, in 11th place. Dean Williams, 12th. Russell Clark, not where he needed to be or necessarily wanted to be, but pressure was on and he cracked maybe just a little bit there. Sean Doyle in 13th, Vic Bentvelts in 14th, Braden Martin in 15th. 16th is Russell Marsh, 17th, Isaac Summers, Matt Marsh in 18th, Jack Patterson 19th, Jeremy Bush 20th.
Matthew Joy, 21st. Leon Williams, first car lap down, 22nd, ahead of Nathan Verney and Peter Wilkinson. David Summers, 25th. Aidan Coote in 26th. And Gordon Smith, 27th. That wraps up race 1 then from Barber Motorsports Park. And we'll get ready for qualifying and race 2 in a few minutes' time. Before then, we have a schedule for Season 3 of the Ozicar Formula Skip Barber Series. And, well, here it is. Oh, we couldn't get a full-screen version of it? Come on. Brands Hatch will open up our season. Then we head to Donington Park, Snetterton, Silverstone, Alton Park, and then Spa. So, 5 British rounds and then Spa. There is a reason for that, though, that I have forgotten. David?
Is there any British circuits that we're missing out on? Is they just run out of Britain?
There's not many British tracks on the service, actually, compared to how many there are. It's Snetterton 300 is a layout there, and it's a legacy version of Silverstone, the GP layout, that'll be used in round 4. Spa is the final round. Spa was the final round in the British Formula Ford Championship for some bizarre reason. So that's why we're headed there, which should be fun. The run out of La Source up down to Eau Rouge and up to Radion and into Le Con will be wild. And Sector 3 as well. So that's going to be a blockbuster conclusion of that season. And a good schedule. Make sure you head and like Ozicar on Facebook so you can be the first to know when registrations open up for that season.
Yeah, indeed. One last thing to point out, though, also Alton Park becoming free iRacing content starting next season. So that is also another incentive to jump in, because if you don't have it already, you're not going to have to buy it.
Exactly right. Always thinking about your wallet, aren't you, David? Hey, we'll go to a break here on Simspeed TV. Before we go, let you know, next season as well, across TCR and Skip Barbers, another rig up for grabs for anyone who participates in either of those 2 series. So keep that in mind. We'll go to a break here on Simspeed TV. Stay with us when we come back, ready for qualifying and the race from Barber.
fantastic. This is GT racing right now. He's got traction, he's got rid of the outside, both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up top
Oh my
here.
god! Oh! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
It's very close. These guys are going to want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, here we go. Oh, no. That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh, my God.
God, what?
Ugh. Welcome back to Barber Motorsports Park. That is a sight I had not planned on seeing today. A giant spider. Because Barber Motorsports Park, for some reason, has a variety of steel animals around the racetrack. Including
It's a
that one.
sculpture park that just happens to also have a racetrack, and I love it.
And, I mean, is that actually there, or is that just iRacing sponsored?
No,
place?
this is all legit stuff. There is several
The
art
Coke bottle.
installations around. We've got giant ants. One of them's got a toy motorcycle. The other one is enjoying a refreshing beverage. Some spiders around amongst other things.
There's a lot of flags as well. Just waiting for qualifying to get underway at Barber Motorsports Park. A final race of the season. Mentioned the rig being given out next season for competitors. If you missed the draw yesterday for who won that rig, well, that went to Reese Gardner. And there's some emus as well.
Yeah, the emus, are they ostriches or well, they've got a good view, that's for sure. There's a lovely museum there that overlooks the track. A lot of interesting race-winning and championship-winning motorcycles and race cars there. There's a giant spider somewhere called Charlotte. Oh, there she is.
There's a web.
She's been laser scanned, so she's online now.
Let's get into qualifying then and stop sightseeing sculptures around this racetrack.
Guy's being abducted.
Yeah. Attack of the killer ants. So for Cameron Dance, all he needs to do is finish in the top 17 spots. Sounds easy.
You're trying so desperately to drop the curse on him, and I think once you try that hard, it doesn't work. But with all that said, yeah, indeed, we're looking at somewhere around 26, 27 cars. He's clearly had race-winning pace many occasions this season. Getting the car to the checkered flag in one piece is the task for Cam Dance if he wants to be champion.
So it's a shame we don't have a Zoom call up so we can see how Cameron's going about, whether he's leaning enough through the corners. He's got both hands on the wheel, and how he celebrates when he wins the championship, if he wins it. Here's Matthew Knight as he rips down the hill and struggles a bit on those cold tyres. I saw David Summers spin out at that point as well, I think, a few moments ago. Expect the second laps to be... Expect the second lap to be the fastest. Maybe the third if you keep your tyre life in it. Gotta wait for those tyres to get up to temperature. And they certainly are not up to temp on your outlap. Mitchell McLeod, meanwhile, after pitting in race one for no reason other than he forgot you don't need to pit, also forgot there's a second race. Well, there's still time for him to join.
Well, Nathan Verney, after giving the spectators a show around about this section in race 1, hoping for better in race 2.
Aren't they all? They all are, apart from Cameron Dance. By the way, 510 points to 494, the official gap, so 16 points the margin. And even if Clark got the same points as Dance would win on a tiebreak due to his ridiculous amount of race wins so far this season. Beginning a lap then. Up the hill, around the top of that right-hander, and back down we go on a track that features a lot of undulation and elevation change. Who are we actually watching, though, is the question you're all probably wondering.
Verney, I said it.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
Verney.
I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, so yet no one with a time on the board. Verney on what looks like his first flying lap. Matt Marsh might be about to stick a time onto the board. Robert Cook pins the first one, and now we're going to get a torrent of qualifying times coming in, but again, it doesn't quite feel representative until we see drivers complete their second and sometimes third flying laps here.
Russell Clark slots into second for now. Cameron Dance, McLeod has showed up, by the way. Cameron Dance yet to complete his first lap. There's Jack Patterson getting towards the last sector. Oh, that's wide. Well, that's called tyres for you. Good job to keep it on the racetrack, though, because that was a very suboptimal line into that final, I guess we'll call it chicane. Cameron Dance, by the way, coming to the line to complete his first lap. Does it put him on provisional pole? No, it doesn't. It's actually 9/10 of a second away. For now.
Yeah, for now, indeed, we expect he'll probably ramp it up a bit in the following laps. For the minute 16 drivers with time on the board. Braden Martin, not one of them yet, but shortly may be. Final corners are near flat out in these cars, so long as you were on the right line on the entry to the corner. Nice little flag stand about there, right before the foreboard. That's one time on the board for Braden Martin.
Ira Felberg, that's a bit off the pace. A 140. Aiden Coote goes fastest on his second lap, the 137.9. Matthew Mites goes fourth. Now a bunch of second laps coming in. Clark did not improve on his second lap. Neither did John Schultz, by the looks of things. No, he did, but not enough to go back to the front. Peter Wilkinson doesn't get a time. Cameron Dance has fallen to 9th now on the timing sheets. About to complete his second lap. 37.9, currently fastest, and this could be your fastest lap of the session for most of the drivers. That lap number 2. What is it for Dance? It's a 37.7.
Ding, 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 top of the board on lap number 2.
Matthew Joy, can he get up there? No, he can't. 144. I don't think it counted either. Probably picked up an off track somewhere on the racetrack as Robert Cook sits in 5th at the moment. Opening up that throttle for the final corner. Maybe a slight confidence lift, or he turned it in right on the gear shift. As he comes to the line, currently 5th, will stay on the... Well, no, we'll go 4th, 38.141. That's his session done. Russell Clark pops up to 2nd as John Schultz goes 4th. Clark immediately back down to 4th. Schultz went quickest, actually. Those times just changed very quickly, and I am now very confused.
Yeah, so Schultz with a 37.2. Dance is still on his third lap, where he might be able to improve. Jeremy Bush is looking for a time that's going to be in the 141s, 142s there, so not necessarily particularly competitive. Would suggest he maybe had a problem. This is Dance, very committed. Plenty of sideways angle through the long right-handers there, looking desperately to improve on his second lap. What's it going to be? He needs better than 37.2, and that looks like it's close. That is so close. That is ridiculous, guys.
37.222 beats out a 37.236. Dance over Schultz. Aiden Coote third, Russell Clark fourth. Clark had gone second, and in the time it took me to look from iRacing down to our broadcast feed, he'd gone back to fourth. Nathan Verney will stay in 12th position. Dennis Hancock in 14th was the only driver to set a time in practice. 148.7. It was off the pace, but a time nonetheless. And qualifying a 39.4 is his best, and it will stay his best because he's on his fourth lap now. That has him 14th as he practices his pit entry, which is actually a little bit tricky here at Motorsport. Barber, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mistake Canada for Alabama, but here we are, Ryan.
Barber Motorsport Park. Mo, close enough.
The risk of opening a little bit of a can of worms, I think maybe Dennis Hancock was the only one with a practice time because his pit box was before the start-finish line.
Not going there. That is why Russell Clark is a few points further back from Dance than some of you may have expected as well. He copped a penalty for pitting on the last lap over at Belle Isle in race 2. Peter Wilkinson trying to put a time on the board with 40 seconds left in the session. He's one of 4 drivers who haven't set a time. Richard McLeod, David Summers, Peter Wilkinson, the others. So he's third. Nathan Verney practices his pit entry as well, but I think that is everyone done.
Yeah, correct. And just a couple seconds left in the session as well. So you can go and lock in this order.
Cameron Dance is on pole. And if he stays there, he wins the title. John Schultz second, Aiden Coote third, Russell Clark from fourth, needing quite the turnaround. Matt Marsh fifth, Angus Cook sixth, Matthew Mites and Robert Cook are on the fourth row, ahead of Dean Williams and Sean Doyle.
Our 11th place starter is going to be Tony Clark, then Nathan Verney, Braden Martin just behind that, Dennis Hancock for 14th, Julian Mookie 15th, then Isaac Summers, Ira Felberg, Vic Bent Veltzen, Leon Williams, Russell Marsh in 20th.
Jack Patterson from 21st, Jeremy Bush in 22nd, and Matthew Joy, Mitchell McLeod, Peter Wilkinson, and David Summers. Track temp is 2 degrees hotter. Won't have too much of a different feel to it compared to race 1. 15 laps as opposed to 9. This time pit stops are required. Mitchell McLeod this time won't be the odd one out if he dives into pit lane early on.
Race control just giving a reminder to all our competitors that this is the pit stop race. It's your medical helicopter there. Light breeze, you can tell from the windsock, which is a very flat, very two-dimensional windsock, but it's functional, so that's all that matters. Barney in his little flag stand overlooking our start-finish line. He's about 30 seconds away from dropping a green flag, sending the lights green, and getting us racing for the final race of this season.
And then they'll be swapping the nice temps of America for the cold, depressing weather of England for the first 5 rounds anyway. At least the racetracks is something to cheer about. 5 seconds left. Final race of the season for the Ozicar Formula Skip Barber Series from Barber Motorsports Park. Race 2. round 6. Dance on pole, leading the championship fight, and away we go. Nice, steady, even start for everyone in the field, as you expect in these cars, through turn 1 and up into turn 2 we roll.
Yeah, indeed, everyone just looking after those cold tyres at the minute, trying to get cleanly through the first couple sectors. One to look for might be Mitch McLeod, no qualifying time, starting from the back. He's going to cut his way through, but up the front here, John Schultz putting a little bit of pressure. He had a lock-up, had half a spin in this corner in race 1. So he's not going to be diving down the inside of Dance. Aiden Coots trying to keep touch as well. And through the hairpin, they all go on lap 1.
Looking to the outside, and the door being shot by John Schultz as Dance runs a little bit wide at the bottom of the hill there. Clark still sitting in 4th behind Aiden Coot.
That great sight across the curbs. Good run from Schultz, looking to the inside, no overlap, backs out of it there. Aiden Coot, good view as well, as he's going to take a line that might let him carry more speed out here. Who goes for pit lane on lap 1?
Cameron Dance is almost out there. John Schultz is going to come in. Aiden Coot stays out, so does Russell Clark. And a whole host of cars coming in further back in the field.
Yeah, about Matthew Mites on back. A bunch of drivers have followed him in. A little bit of issue for Jeremy Bush. Who's he tangled with there? Didn't quite catch it.
Aiden Coot.
A little bit of contact deeper in the field.
Aiden Coot had an issue at turn 1, ran wide, got into the grass, compromised his line into turn 2 as well. Subsequently, has run off the corner, and Russell Clark draws up to his rear wing. Cameron Dance pulling away from them both already. 1.1 seconds, the gap.
Here's Mitch McLeod not going for the lap 1 pit stop strat from, where was he? 24th on the grid. Sure, quite a few drivers have pitted, but he's the 7th now.
Does he know this one's a pit stop? Is he going to stay out the entire race this time?
Goodness only knows, but here's John Schultz. He's made his required pit stop. He's all good, all set, running along in 14th for the minute. He is still the highest place of everyone who has pitted.
Matt Marsh really pressuring Russell Clark now as he starts to be held up by Aiden Coot. Who any of them turn to pit road. Matt Marsh goes straight and comes in. Only driver to do so, though, from the top 10.
Oh, Coot and Clark together. Coot in the wall. Aiden Coot in the wall. Had a big wiggle in the final corner. And then just the tiniest of taps has sent him into the wall. You'll see the replay here. Coot was in a world of hurt, and Clark, I don't think, had anywhere to go in this one.
No, he didn't, and it's damaged the front wing of Russell Clark's machine on board as Coot grabs the grass, has a wiggle. Clark tried to check up, but he couldn't do it in time.
That's drama for a couple of the cars that hadn't pitted yet. It's like Angus Cook through into 2nd, and that is a very sad looking machine for Aiden Coot.
Russell Clark is not having the best of days, is he?
Nope.
Oop. Just got worse.
Nope.
And even worse.
When it rains, it pours for poor Russell Clark.
So he now runs just outside. He runs in 6th position still. 14 seconds away from Dance. Sean Doyle tucks in behind Matthew Mites for 11th. John Schultz already up to 8th. A lot of drivers having pitted very early on in this one.
Yes, somewhat surprisingly, but that hadn't been the prevailing wisdom at some of the other tracks where you didn't want to pit too early, get bogged down in traffic, and we saw some drivers staying out late do very well for themselves. So not sure what's brought some of the earlier pit stops in here as Doyle and Mites force their way through the field.
There's Clark on pit road, minus his nose cone. Leaving Dance, Cook, McLeod, Mookie, and Patterson, the only drivers yet to pit in this race. On board is Sean Doyle now, still behind Matthew Mites. Into troublesome turn number 1, and they both get through there without issue.
One of those corners, it's not quite Sunset Bend, but you can kind of keep it stuck to the inside the whole way around, or diamond it into 2 apexes, or there's a few ways to go about it. A couple lines through that corner. Your main concern is your speed, though, up the hill, down the straight to this hairpin, which can be an overtaking opportunity, and Doyle is trying, but now he's going to be on the outside for the next corner, and it really is only one line bouncing across the curbs into this next sort of 3-part hairpin. Doyle is not afraid of the curbs in that section either. Tiny bit of grass, but he holds onto it.
Yeah, Angus Cook into pit road. Someone else as well. Maybe Robert Cook?
I see Jeremy Bush on the lane, who is a bit further down the order. In fact, his second pit stop as well. So Cook was in second when he jumped into pit lane. So where he comes out compared to some of the other guys will be of interest. Yet to pit, Mitchell McLeod in third, looking for second.
And Angus Cook going to pop out comfortably in front of Sean Doyle.
And McLeod gets second because Robert Cook had to check up for... is that Jeremy Bush again? Or someone else? No, Jeremy Bush is in blue and yellow. That's Matthew Joy. That's understeer. That's grass. That's oversteer. That's a correction. That's a checkup. Okay.
And more grass. So Angus Cook still provisionally second. Matthew Mites, Sean Doyle just a little ways behind. Might be in with a shout at a podium. Although maybe not, because Schultz and Matt Marsh are ahead of Angus Cook as well. So Schultz provisionally second. That means Angus Cook is fourth once this all cycles out, as Dance continues to stay out. Oh, he's wide. Will he make the fence? Can he keep it off the fence? He does, but that was a huge moment for your championship leader. And there are a handful of turn ones out there that are as generous with their runoff as they are here at Barber. He'll be thankful we're at this racetrack.
Yeah, Cam Dance yet to make his pit stop, and he might need to for a clean after that moment. That was just a couple of meters from catastrophe, wasn't it? It was a spin that cost him one position. Could have been in damage and a near DNF. Julian Mookie, another car down the lane.
That might make Dance tone down his effort level a little bit. Back down to under 100% so he doesn't push the car too hard again. Would have been a scary moment for sure. I mean, Russell Clark's 13th. Clark finished 10th. And Clark and Can't Dance DNF'd. Well, who knows? But he's still going for now. Mitchell McLeod is still out on the racetrack as well. No, he's not. I think McLeod has, yes, had a technical issue. Oh, he's back.
He's back on planet Earth.
Still ahead of Cameron Dance by 0.8 of a second.
Here's another taker for pit road. Just the top 3 left to pit at the moment, which means everyone you're looking at here has made their pit stop. Matthew Mites, who had a pretty decent race 1, it has to be said. Did he stand on the podium? Now he's looking at Angus Cook for another position.
Getting a good toe now. Does he get the slingshot? Opts not to pull the move into that hairpin. Or he might have been close enough there, but opting or erring on the side of caution this time. Sean Doyle still behind him. Angus Cook. And came out of pit road up the road from these guys and has been slowly reeled in. McLeod and Dance stay out for another tour.
Yeah, and Dance is starting to catch McLeod back. It was about a second, now it's closer to half a second. I like this onboard view where you can see the tubes for the frame of the Skip Barber. It's not like a Formula 4 car, a carbon fiber monocoque. This is an old school entry level single seater, and that's what makes them, I guess, cheap, but popular. A little bit of a lock-up for McLeod, but that's very easily done with so many of these braking zones where the track drops away, your inside tyre wants to lock up. Ooh, interesting line from Mites here, trying to go down the inside of the long right-hander. Cook a bit wide. Has better speed off the corner. Who's that trying to size them up as well? Sean Doyle.
Gets them both. So Matthew Mites with an error. And that was very tight. And that's even tighter as Mites gets into the back of Doyle.
Tiny little piece of the nose cap that we've seen drop off a few of these cars with light contact. Plenty of breeze on his feet there for Matthew Mites now.
Not exactly particularly aerodynamic, though.
Cam Dance chucking it into the lane to get his compulsory stop out of the way.
It would have been awkward if he'd put it in the fence there. Easy to do when you come into pit road anywhere. As McLeod goes purple.
Doyle on the limit. A lot of corrections to keep the car facing the right way. Set him up for a run out of the final corner here. He pushes hard. And he's got speed, but around the outside, is that how you want to do it? I think he's clear.
Good job from Doyle to pick up that spot after chasing Mites for quite a while. Now getting both of them running in 6th position. Just waiting on Mitchell McLeod and Robert Cook to pit from 1st and 2nd. They'll both rejoin reasonably high up the order, you would imagine. Cameron Dance rejoined, by the way, behind John Schultz.
Do you want to hear a fun fact?
Not really.
Okay, good. McLeod set no qualifying time, so his pit stall is going to be at the near pit in, not at the far end of the pit lane at pit out, and therefore before the control line.
Okay. So, John Schultz jumping Dance in the pit stops, and that'll be because of Cameron's big spin he had down at turn 1. Shows the pace advantage he's got as he runs off the road again. that he's still this close to Schultz despite that.
I'm just saying 5D chess to join the session late, so you can't set a qualifying time, so you can pit on the last lap. That is visionary thinking, 10 steps ahead of the game.
Doesn't really pay off the effort, though. It's not that big of an advantage. And can almost guarantee that's not what McLeod was thinking either. As Schultz and Dantry battle, there's still some great scraps further down the order. Isaac Summers running in 14th.
Yeah, how about this for a turn? Couple different lines there, then up the hill over that little crest where you don't want to have too much steering in.
Oop, that's a car that's spinning. No, saved it. But it would allow Martin to get by, as Isaac Summers had a handful going on through the hairpin. Still an overlap. Inside line for the next corner. Brandon Martin got a second away though, as Summers just backs out of it.
Rob Cook on the lane, so only one driver left to pit at the moment. And did we mention Cam Dance rejoined the race behind John Schultz?
Yep.
Okay, there it is. They're pretty close together. They're now going to go through into second place, and looking at the timing, probably the lead when Mitchell McLeod needs to pit. So I think we are looking to battle for the race win here. I think Schultz would like to take this one just for a little bit of pride for the team.
Salvage something from a round that has gone pretty far from expectations, you would imagine, for that team, and especially for Russell Clark. Be good for Schultz to finish us off with a win. Looking at where McLeod is, where are you expecting to rejoin? So Robert Cook's come back in 5th. So it's that marsh is about 6 seconds up the road from Cook. That gap is about the gap between McLeod and Cook before he pitted. So that might be where he comes out, somewhere around Matt Marsh, which will be the final step on the podium. So he goes for another tour. I hope he does pit.
I hope he pits for 4 tyres.
Purple lap for Mitchell McLeod as well. Not officially counting, unfortunately. 36.6. Which is 2 tenths quicker than his other fastest lap, the actual fastest lap, which is 36.8.
Bit of a battle over 5th with Doyle, Cook and Cook. Sean Doyle started 10th, now running 5th. Second pit stop for Nathan Verney. Don't know what the problem is here. This is his second time on the lane. I don't see any tyres going there.
Stuck behind Sean Doyle. It might not be too long before things start to boil over for the two Cooks.
Get out. That's my territory. That's my job.
Does he come to pit lane this time? No, he doesn't. 2 more opportunities. Or 1. Depending how you want to look at it.
And how you look at it matters sometimes.
Another 36.6 from McLeod. That's how it does count.
Yeah. So he's motoring on right now, trying to make the overcut work against these guys. Schultz and Dance is potentially where he could speed if the overcut works. He's definitely going just a little bit faster than Dance, who he was in front of, but hadn't, before they made their stops. So Schultz wants to hold on to this one, but while this goes on, as they lose, a couple tenths of a second here, a couple tenths of a second there, the chance of them being overcut by Mitchell McLeod increases.
Cameron Dance has just wanted to McLeod's lap times with his own purple lap of a 36.6. While Angus Cook is still behind Sean Doyle. Robert Cook's fallen off the back of these two a little bit. Down the back straight, Angus was very close, but just couldn't find a way through. Got a good run here. Might be able to slice his way up the inside. No, not quite.
Looking at the McLeod mobile once again. Through the final sector. Bit of traffic in front of him. Pit entrance to the left. He's going for it.
Well, he turned in too early there for the pits. He gets in and slowed down to pit road speed. That will release John Schultz as the official race leader from Cameron Dance as they both throw it over the curbs. Angus Cook's got a run on Sean Doyle as well. They run side by side and Cook will take it away up the hill.
Pit stop is done for McLeod. He's leaving pit road. Here's John Schultz at speed, warm tyres. It is going to be close. Let's see. McLeod has got his nose in front, around the outside, but 2 laps to go now on cold tyres for McLeod.
See how quickly he can get those warmed up. So McLeod emerges in the race lead after starting this one from 24th position. John Schultz second, Cameron Dance in third. 8 seconds back to 4th place Matt Marsh, who is all on his own. Another 8 seconds behind him. Battle between Cook and Doyle. Russell Clark is up into 8th place, by the way. There's 23 cars on the lead lap. 1 car 10 laps down, Aiden Coote in 26th. 2 cars 1 lap down, 24th and 25th. Cameron Dance just needs to make sure he keeps his car clean in these final few kilometres around this racetrack.
He'll be urging John Schultz on to catch Mitch McLeod, though, and I would think, whoa, McLeod's off the circuit. I would think that this sector here is where cold tyres really, really hurt you in these just continuous turning corners, changes of direction, and Schultz is right with him, looking for a good exit out the final corner. Surely he can also break deeper into turn 1. Warm tyres versus cold tyres here.
1 lap to go, final race of the season. The top 3 as they cross the line are covered by 0.3 of a second. McLeod runs a bit wide, drops 2 in the grass. Dance was the fastest of them all race long on that last lap as he sits in third with a hand and a bit on the championship trophy. Down the back of the circuit, McLeod covering because they come into the hairpin. 3 different lanes being taken by these 3 drivers. Dance throwing it in around the outside.
McLeod parks the inside. Schultz has disappeared to the shadow realm and now he's back, and it's basically how it was when they crossed the line.
Those tyres from McLeod should be pretty much up to temperature now as well. Over it's lap 2 where they do some really fast times in qualifying, and occasionally lap 3. Laps car up the road, that's Leon Williams. Going rather slowly, he might get in the way here. They catch him at an awkward time, if they do catch him. Looking like Schultz isn't going to get close enough as Dance right behind him. Almost pushing him. Into the last 2 corners. Leon Williams stays out of the way as Dance looks up the inside of John Schultz. And almost to the inside of McLeod. He throws it in. McLeod covering into the final corner. Side by side for second. Mitchell McLeod from the back to the front He's going to win the final race of the season at Barber Motorsports Park. Cameron Dance is second, and with that, Cameron Dance is your Season 2 champion.
Ego did what he needed to do. I think he's happy. And a bit of tandem drifting behind as Cook and Doyle go to cross the line. Mookie and Mites are still fighting. Don't think Mites is close enough on that one. Still nursing the damage to the nose.
Mookie and Mites round out top 10 as they cross the line. Felberg and Verney. Looks like Verney, or Felberg brothers, just gonna get him at the line. That was pretty tight. What was the gap there? It was 0.06 of a second.
Just a couple of cars left on the lead lap. That includes Jack Patterson, Peter Wilkinson.
This would be an awkward run to the line here. Wilkinson won't get there, though, over Jack Patterson, who made that mistake and almost cost himself the spot. And David Summers across the line just behind him. Let's go through our full results then from our final race of the season. Mitchell McLeod winning by 0.2 of a second after a stellar drive, plus 24 in just 15 laps. Cameron Dance in second, doing enough to take out the title with a first and a second today. John Schultz home in third, Matt Marsh fourth, and Angus Cook fifth. Sean Doyle sixth, ahead of Robert Cook in seventh, and Russell Clark, Julian Mookie, and Matthew Mites.
In 11th place was Dennis Hancock, Tony Clark 12th, Braden Martin 13th, Isaac Summers 14th, Ira Felberg 15th, Nathan Verney 16th, Russell Marsh in 17th, 18th place Vic Bentvelson, then Jack Patterson from Peter Wilkinson.
David Summers in 21st, Leon Williams 22nd, Matthew Joy, Jeremy Bush, Dean Williams, and Aidan Coote round out the field. Cameron Dance currently doing doughies down on the main straight. Or rather, he's trying to. What? He's pretty bad at them.
Is there just not enough torque in these cars to break it loose? You can give it all the revs.
Are you saying if Mitchell McLeod had won, there'd be enough torque then?
There.
Oh, yes.
He's trying there. All right.
He's got some friends. Hurry up, Cam, we want to interview you. I think. Do we want to interview him? We'll have a chat to, while we wait for Dance, series organizer Ira Felberg, who joins us in the comms box. Ira, another solid race for you, a couple of top 10s, but the season wraps up with a good fight and a good scrap for the win as well in the end.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, Skippy's the first couple of races of the season were a bit messy, but people adjusting to my rules and they were a bit unusual. But yeah, I thought as the season went on, it just got better and better, and there wasn't too much called out there tonight. And yeah, I actually happened to go not too bad. My first top 10, not bad for an old bloke.
So season 3 schedule announced, middle of the broadcast, 5 British tracks and then Spa. We explained it away as being that was the final round of the British Formula 4 Championship, yeah?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I thought, we did season UK for the turbo touring cars and it worked pretty good, and that's kind of where this formula comes from, and they're all good tracks, they suit it and all that. So yeah, the first season they started at Brands Hatch and finished at Spa, so I thought that'd be a good track as well. Like, it's a bit drafty, I know, so I'm a little bit scared, but yeah, last round, and I think by then everyone will have their eye in. So yeah, no. What did you guys think? They're all good tracks, eh?
Yep, I like it. I like the good draft tracks. I'm happy with finishing at Spa.
Yeah, no, it should be good. I think I'm really looking forward to next season, and like I said, it takes everyone usually about a season to get used to it all, but and we'll iron out a few bugs, and yeah, I look forward to it. So yeah, I just want to quickly thank everyone involved, obviously you guys for making us look good, Jay behind the scenes, Scott, Simfinity, Virtual Motorsport Mentor, who actually has got a little prize to give away to the most improved this season, so you wanted me to keep that to the end. Chris, and yeah, Prestige Trophies for handing out some trophies for the lads. So yeah, just want to thank everybody, and I look forward to a week off. I like me racing, but yeah, week off and then back into it.
Who was most improved then in your eyes?
That's a good question. I'll have to have a look at the points. There's a couple that do stick out. Braden Martin, I know he moved up a lot from last season. I'd have to run my eye over the points to have a look, but there's a few there. Sean Doyle, even Julian Mookie, he's got the best paint job in there, I reckon. So that's worth about a second of that.
Thank you for joining us, Sarah. Good job with the season and
Yeah,
getting a top 10 today as well.
Thanks again, Ryan. Thanks, everyone. Cheers.
That was Ara Felberg, the man behind the series, which has been taken out by Cameron Dance. Picked up another race win and then a second place as well. That's a season title for you, Cameron.
Yeah, certainly. It was heading into the round. It was not quite going to be the way I wanted to win the championship, but after how the round went for Russell, it feels a little bit more legit with the way that it's gone. But hey, at the end of the day, it is what it is, and the whole point of a series is to get consistent point finishes, and that's what we did. Apart from what happened at Pocono, but nevertheless, yeah, it was a really, really good season overall.
Okay, and obviously that championship fight, you came back so strong over the last half of the season, picking up, I think the tally is 8 race wins, or 7 race wins in the last 9 races. Happy with that? You're going to see you back next season, maybe make it 10 from 10 potentially?
Yeah, certainly happy to pick up a number of wins along the way. I wasn't quite sure what was going to happen when John and Mitch and Russell were giving me a run for my money, which was quite good to see at least take some sort of fight to the championship with me and out there. But nevertheless, yeah, I'll see what happens next season and what my timetable might look like. But I'll try to be back if I can.
All right, we look forward to seeing you come back to hopefully defend that title. Who are the people that help you get it done and the sponsors you want to thank for the season?
Yeah, just first of all, shout out to Ira for the awesome series and all the guys on track for the awesome racing. And also shout out to Texans Fitstone Motorsport and Texans Sensors, Renville Harnesses, Demon Tweaks, Fight Colorectal Cancer. You guys for putting on an awesome broadcast, Type Stimulator, Kiwi Simulators. Probably someone I'm forgetting, but anyway, just in general, awesome series overall, and cheers to everybody that helped out in the end.
Thank you very much, Cam. Good job once again.
Cheers, guys.
That was Cameron Dance, who walks away with the championship win after a great final round out at Barber Motorsports Park. So with that, we wrap up season number 2 of the Ozicar Formula Skip Barber Series, presented by Simspeed and Virtual Motorsport Mentor, live right here on Simspeed TV. Make sure to go like Ozicar on Facebook and Simspeed Sports Network as well to stay up to date with all the latest news, broadcasts, and races from across the week. But from myself, Ryan Jones, and from David Haynes alongside me, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now. He's got traction. He's going around the outside of both of them. Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my God!
Big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
It's very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, here we go.
Oh no.
That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?